Hello, we're back, and this is episode 59 of Gamers of Lost Spark podcast, and I'm your host, Anthony Chesson. Unfortunately, Darren isn't with us this week. He's still sick, so get better, dude, if you're listening. So joining me this week, fresh from the piratey waters of Gamescom, it's Mr. James Thomas.
Hello! I thought I haven't spoken enough recently, so I would spend a couple of hours chatting with you on the pod. So, hello. And,
I'm surprised you have a voice after Gamescom last week.
Honestly, the last couple of nights, I sounded ridiculously croaky. So it's just come back, I think, in the last 24 or 36 hours or so. But yeah, I could barely raise sort of any volume at the start of the week. Although I could do a really good sort of like deep voice. So was it
right.
Barry White? I could do a good Barry White at the start of the week.
Excellent stuff. So how was Gamescom? How was showing off Sea of Thieves?
Yeah, Gamescom was really good. I mean, I don't usually like to bring work into the podcast, as I like to try and keep them separate, but as that's the big thing that's been going on. Yeah, it was really good. We went out on Sunday before it started, and pretty much Monday was there setting up. So we had 30 machines out there. So we had it was effectively 6 boats, 5 people on each, separated into 2 sessions. So we spent most of Monday making sure they were all networked, making sure all the headsets worked, making sure all the servers were in sync, just everything checking that it could go right. And this is like everything from just like daisy chaining headsets to make sure they all work together, just everything just double and triple checking. So when it came to Tuesday, we had Xbox invited selected press. Then on Wednesday, it was the whole press day. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday was just the whole of the public invite at that point. So I think throughout the entire 5 days, there was like over 500,000 people through Gamescom. So it was, I mean, we were both there last year as well. And you saw what it was like. It's just
absolutely
nuts after a while. But thankfully, the hall we were in seemed fairly well air-conditioned. So it flew by in that sense. It wasn't quite the sweaty mess it has been of previous years. But on a personal, it was really good showing off the game because people can tell you other people like it. You know, you get the news back. So I go, oh, it went down really well at E3. Oh, it went down really well in the interviews. But then actually taking people through the demo was superb because I was actually on the stand. I got to crew a ship. I got to guide the public through the game itself, and just seeing them have fun was fantastic. And I think the fact I still wanted to play the game at the end of 5 days was like due to the enthusiasm and the energy that taking strangers through and then bonding with them as pirates, it was fantastic.
It looked absolutely superb. I mean, the live streams that you guys did on Twitch.tv Rare, they were absolutely fantastic. I had it running while I was working at home, working in quotes. I had it running, and it really looked like a ton of fun. You know, there was you could tell that people were enjoying themselves because they did just have these big kind of smiley faces as they were playing. You know, no one was bored. You know, everyone, and it just looked like, and every time I was watching it, it was just different as well because you would have some people who are quite a well-organised crew. I think your crew seemed to be a lot more organised than maybe others on your team.
I whipped them into shape, that was for sure.
Absolutely. But, you know, there was a bit that, you know, and you could just see you were all just kind of working as a team, and it just seemed to work really well. But it looks like the game itself just looks like a ton of fun.
Thank you, sir. But I think it's a really nice game to demo as well from our point of view because you actually get to inhabit that pirate role. Because when we were out with Rare Replay last year, it was really good fun, but because Rare Replay played so much on like the nostalgia and like, you know, look what we've done over 30 years, but you almost just had to let people go in and dip out and find what they wanted to. Whereas this time round, you know, you could put on the accent and go, oh, me arties, and like grab the crew together, and it gave you a script, it gave you a playground, which I think helped bond everyone together because everyone knows what it's like to be pirates. So it's like, you know, you splice the main brace and you pull down the sails and you fire cannons. So there was very little explanation, I think, needed. So it meant that language wasn't a barrier. And as soon as you got like 4 friends who knew each other, it was superb. Like the best crew I had was like 4 German speakers. And I pretty said, like, I'll take you through the instructions, I'll give you a bit of a flavour, but then off you guys go on your own. I'll just be quiet and you guys can talk into German. And I had no idea what they were saying. Like I picked up left and right, links and rechts, so I could run to the side of the ship they wanted me to. But apart from that, I had no idea what they were talking about. But there were shanties, there were high fives, there was hoots of laughter as people fell off the crow's nest. It was like, yes. And I was just I was just enjoying being with them at that point in time. It was superb.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. It just it just seems like it was just a great week. So did you get any time while you were at Gamescom? Did you get any time to go and look at other games? Did you get time to check out any of the other booths?
I tried at certain points because it was pretty full on for most of it. I managed to touch the console that had the new Zelda game on it. That's as close as I got. The first day when we were setting up, a few of us went and had a recce while we were waiting for something to be unpacked. And we went to the Nintendo booth, and there was everything was still in a state of disarray at some point. And there was just this massive cling film wrapped pod at one corner that was obviously don't let this out of your sight, don't let the bits go. So yeah, I touched the cling film that was separating me from the new Zelda game.
Oh, that's just fantastic. So were they showing it then on Wii U?
Yeah, they were showing it on Wii U, but it was like an invite only. You know how they've done with the PlayStation VR and stuff. So you had to get your name on a list, or you had to be a lucky loser, I think, in like a draw or something like that. So yeah, you had to have your name on a list, and you had to arrive at a certain time, and you had to make sure that you... Yes, because I'm not going to lie, because I've been there for press before, and everyone I think has the sort of like the mindset. They don't mind you asking, we've got like many interviews over many years just simply by turning up at booths and going, "Hi, we're from so and so. Have you got a free slot?" And you can get in and you can get rejected. So there was a couple of times we wandered over and going, "Hi, we're over from the Xbox booth and we're on our break at the moment and we don't get much time. Do you mind? Is there any? Could we possibly?" And the poor man was obviously going, "Sorry, guys." And you could see from his face, you're the 10,000th people to have asked me this question. No, you cannot get it.
You should have said, if you let me go have a go on that, I'll let you have your own kind of personal crew on Sea of Thieves and have a bit of an exchange going.
There does seem to be like an after-hours market for swag.
Yes.
So because we took out tattoo sleeves, and there were a couple of times where you found other booths brought their swag to you and going, "I have this lovely pin badge, could we trade you for a tattoo sleeve?" So yeah, it's like an illicit background trading mechanism with all the swag.
Oh, that's just fantastic. Did you get to the hall that you found last year? Because I think last year you found the merchandise with the retro consoles and things like that. Did you get there?
I did. I managed to find it. It wasn't as good as last year for retro games. Anyway, it was still filled with all sorts of what do they got? PopCap? What the figures? Pop. I can't think.
Oh yeah, the pop art, the pop vinyl figures.
Yes, there are billions of those, it seems. And if you're not selling some sort of squashed anime kitten, you're selling those. So they seem to take up 90% of the hall. But Blizzard had a huge stand, and Square Enix had a huge stand in there. But yeah, I could find one German guy running like an old retro stall, and it seemed to be more like a car boot stall than an official stall. So I managed to bring back two games. One was like Corvette Challenge, and the other was what was it called? It's the Lion King in German, so it's like Löwen de König.
Nice.
He says butchering someone else's tongue.
That's so cool. Was that on the SNES?
Oh no, both on the NES. Both on the NES.
Both on the NES?
Yeah, because
really?
I remember playing The Lion King on the SNES and on the PC back in the day, but until I started looking for the NES games, I didn't realise it came out on that as well.
Yeah, no, I thought it was like, I guess what I'm thinking of is probably like things like Aladdin that were out on the Mega Drive and the SNES, weren't they?
I can still remember playing Aladdin in HMV to this day, just like jumping on camels while like their tongue goes out and you're grabbing apples from above it. I was just blown away by the animation back then.
I just remember seeing that go, it's just like the movie, you know. So it was like, oh, my stupid eyes. But yeah, that just, it sounds like it was an absolutely fantastic week. They've already announced, I think it's like this time next year, isn't it? They've already announced that it's going to be August 22nd next year. Yep. I think they've already kind of thrown it out. Yep. So that's just really interesting. I think.
Are you going to go? Are you going to...
I think I'm going to have to. I think Manny and I were both a little bit kind of disgruntled on the first day of Gamescom because we were seeing all things come in and we're like, oh, I'm so bummed I'm not there. I made a decision not to go this year, and then I was like, oh, I was regretting it. The moment it started, I was instantly regretting kind of not going to Gamescom. So yeah, absolutely. I think next year is a must.
Yeah, it made me smile going back to Cologne as well because I think this is like the 5th or 6th year I've been in a row due to one reason or another. And it just, when you see the two twin spires of the cathedral coming up over the horizon, I just broke into a grin. It's like, we're here again. Games are going to happen, and we're here again. It's like, yes.
It's like my second home.
Yes. Well, it's really weird, because you go to EGX and but they're at the NEC, and it's not quite as glamorous as a real historic German city with its own cathedral and a nice river and restaurants by the... So yeah, it's really nice going to a place that you can just come out of the convention centre, have a stroll over a river, and just sit down and have a drink, just looking at a really nice view. I don't think you can beat it for a game setting.
No, that's absolutely just fantastic. I mean, and then the last thing about Gamescom, I saw kind of there was a tweet that you kind of put out early one morning where you did you kind of happen across an orchestra? Was it Games Live that were rehearsing?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we walked through because obviously we had to get there early to set everything up and make sure everything was working. And I think Blizzard had the same idea because we rocked through their hall at about 8 o'clock one morning, and the whole games. I can't remember what it's called. Video Games Live, that's it. The whole Video Games Live orchestra were on their stage practicing. And so me and my friend just stopped, distracted, and we just watched this montage of World of Warcraft, just a few of the background levels, and you could just see videos running in the background, and the whole orchestra playing it, and it's stunning. I mean, I think we spoke about when we went to go and see... Indiana Jones, and the whole orchestra playing in front of the video there. And again, it was this same wonder that you have to forget that you're not listening to a CD. You have to look at the orchestra, and it's amazing just to realise this precision instruments are being played live in front of you.
Oh, it just sounds fantastic. That just sounded like such a great morning. Just kind of strolling across, happening across that. How long did you stay? Did you stay for like a good 10 minutes and just kind of enjoy it?
We stopped till the end of that song because we had to set up, but it was a good way. It made a marked change from the extremely loud German rap music that was next to us for large segments of the show. We were just...
Oh, wow. You've got that song in your head still, haven't you?
I think if I could discern the song from just the thumping noise that was around me, I'd have been better. But...
Oh, superb. That just sounds fantastic. So, anything else you've been doing this week, or have you just been kind of Gamescom and then just getting over Gamescom?
Yeah, pretty much. Bake Off. Bake Off started. I know you're a fellow Bake Off fan, which is why we're recording on a Thursday and not a Wednesday.
Indeed. It was very good last night. I really enjoyed it was quite interesting to see some of the characters are not going to be around for very long, and also some that will be just kind of really kind of pulling out of the hat. So it was fantastic. It's just so good to just have that program back. It just, when it finished or even when it started, it just felt lovely.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's the nicest program you can find on television. I think after the last series, I think it goes straight into The Apprentice, doesn't it? And
it does.
It's such a marked change because on the Bake Off, for anyone who doesn't know the Great British Bake Off, watch it. But it's just 12 people in a tent cooking cakes and being nice to each other. There's no massive rivalry, no matter how much they try and edit it. Everyone is just friendly and helpful to each other, and it's just so lovely. It's like in where everything is like contrived conflict, and they get The Apprentice where they're just trying to get each other fired. It's like, this is such a beautiful, lovely, just huggable piece of fresh air, I think, on television.
It really is, and it's just like with the presenters as well. It just kind of does just make it such a gorgeous kind of hour. We were there, we were kind of ready. We had cake because we always make sure we kind of try and figure out what's going to be shown that week, and then either bake it ourselves or buy it. So we had cake. We had cake ready. So we had a clementine cake. We had it ready. Cup of tea. It was just like, and it was just it was so good. I really enjoyed it. So good being back.
Yeah, I daren't say too much because I know some people occasionally watch it on catch up. I don't know what the Venn diagram is for Spark listeners and Great British Bake Off, but do let us know in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely, it'd be interesting.
But I've already scheduled a space on Saturday where I want to make Jaffa cakes.
Right.
And I really want to try and get into the habit this year of trying to bake at least one thing, if not on the show, inspired by the show. That's my get out clause when they get really fancy later on. And I just thought, Jaffa cakes, they're so cheap to buy, but I thought this is a once in a lifetime. I just want to see if I can.
Yes. And hopefully you'll do it the right way up.
Yes, I couldn't believe that. That was the main topic of conversation in the office. Like, who doesn't know what a Jaffa cake looks like? How did you get on a baking show?
I've never seen my wife Nicola. I've never seen her so animated as to when someone had well, there were two people who had Jaffa cakes upside down, and it was hilarious. She was just like shouting at the TV. And that's me saying it's a very calm thing, but then when this was happening, it was like, it's upside down. What are you doing? It really made me chuckle. It was just absolutely fantastic. So it's really good. So what have you been playing this week?
So I've been trying to play catch up on a few things because whilst I was away, I knew I wouldn't have much time, but I did load up my 3DS with Box Boy. Have you played Box Boy? It's a 3DS downloadable game.
I haven't.
The first one came out about 18 months ago, and I thought it was absolutely wonderful. It was quite a short game. I think I'd say in the spirit of Portal. Not I'm not comparing it directly to it, but it was a few hours long and it was a puzzle game. Except this time round it's a 2D puzzle game, and you're effectively a square. And you can walk along, and then you can sprout other squares out of your head. So if you can make Tetris or snake shapes out of your body, you can like push them out in a line. So you can do simple things like push 3 out in front of you, then throw them to make a little bridge, or you could sort of like put 2 up and 1 across, and then you could jump, and it sort of acts like a little hook. It's quite a visual thing, so I'd recommend people go and look at the trailer. But with the variety of puzzles and situations they put you in, because you can use these blocks as like steps, bridges, protection against lasers and spikes. So the amount of variety they put in the original for having you to try and think out not only what block shape you needed to use, but how you figured into the equations. I thought it was quite clever. It's really simple, but they use it in some very interesting ways. And it was one of my favourite games of last year. So when they said there was a sequel coming out, it's like, yes, I need to jump on that. So I've probably only about an hour in on the flight, but it's really good. It's really good. They're sort of carrying on with let's just do a bit more. And so this time around you can create 2 sets of blocks that you can like throw off for yourself. So you combine hooks with ladders and stuff like that. I find it really hard to explain. I usually end up having to draw people Tetris shapes at some point in time. So that's probably the favourite thing I've been playing whilst I was away.
Oh, fantastic. So it kind of sounds a little bit like kind of Thomas Was Alone, but maybe just kind of a bit more Nintendo-y.
Yes, yeah, it's very clean lines, just sort of like black outlines, very clear shapes. But yeah, I'd say if Thomas Was Alone had lost the narrator and had a bit more puzzle to it, it's in that vein.
Got you. Excellent stuff. Superb. I'll check that out because I was actually looking at my 3DS today because I've been playing the Vita a lot, and I just looked at my 3DS and I'm like, I really need something to play. I haven't played on it for a while, and I just really need something to play. I was thinking about doing Mario 64 again, so I was just like, I need something to play on.
Yeah, I think it's like £4.50 as well, so it's dirt cheap.
Wow,
and
that's a steal.
Yeah, I thoroughly recommend it.
Fantastic. Superb.
Yes, do I hear that you've had some new hardware as well, though, in the intervening podcast period?
I have indeed, yes. I got an Xbox One S. So I got an Xbox One S. I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered it when it came out. I think I pre-ordered it after they announced it at E3. I was like, I'll just pre-order it. Just leave that pre-order there and see what I think. And then kind of coming up to the release, I was like, yes, I definitely want this. This is something that I want. With kind of 2 of my favourite games this year being Forza, Forza and Gears are both coming out with HDR support. I was like, I definitely need it. I didn't need it, but I want it. So I kept my pre-order with Amazon and managed to get it, which is quite interesting because the 2 terabyte Xbox One S that I've got kind of instantly sold out, and now Microsoft they're not going to release any more of that one. Obviously, there will be 2 terabyte ones for maybe a Gears of War special edition, or they'll be saving that SKU for a special edition. But yeah, so I got the Xbox One S. I kind of plugged it in. It's really funny because it's really kind of Nicola's Xbox now at the moment because she's commandeered the big TV. So she's just playing it and I'm playing on the old one. But like I say, it kind of won't come into fruition until September 23rd when Forza Horizon comes out, and then obviously Gears. So I can't wait for that. I was thinking that maybe something like Halo or something like that would get a patch, and there would be something for it to play on. But no, Microsoft have kind of kept it that Forza is the first one that's going to be supporting HDR.
So Forza is definitely the first HDR one.
Yep, so Forza is the first. There's been no patches for anything, no updates or anything. It's definitely going to be, Forza is going to be that first HDR game. So I can't wait. I can't wait to play it because Forza Horizon just looks absolutely stunning. And I've seen 4K footage on the TV. You know, if you watch it on YouTube on the 4K TV, you get to see it. It looks incredible, but I'm sure it's going to look just as good in HDR. So I'm really excited about it. It's quite funny because both Sky Q and Xbox One S both gone kind of HDR 4K compatible. It was all very good. I woke up early one Saturday and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to set up the Xbox One S, I'm going to play around with it. I think I got up at like about 6 o'clock, something stupid on a Saturday. So I kind of plugged my Xbox One S, and then I looked at the TV and it was like, and it does a check to say everything's compatible, and so it can switch over to 4K, and then it was like, nope, I'm not doing it. And I was like, so it was like, not supported. And I was like, I'll have a look at Sky. So I had a look at Sky, and my AV amp had like 4 4K inputs. I was like, it can't be that. It'll be fine. Sky was doing exactly the same. So I quickly messaged my mate Stuart at Just Add Popcorn, just messaged him just to see, because he's normally up quite early. So I messaged him early on a Saturday, and he was like, right, check this and check that. So I had a quick check, and we're messaging kind of backwards and forwards, and he was like, I don't think your AV amp is compatible. And then so I checked, I kind of went on to AV forums and places like that and found out that because it was really early 4K equipment, it was HDMI 2.0, but it wasn't HDCP 2.2, which is now the new factor for HDR and 4K.
So it could do the 4K but not the HDR part.
Exactly. So because my HDR 4K Blu-ray player plugs in directly to my TV, and then the sound goes to the amp, so that was all fine. But the two that were trying to go through the amp was just basically saying, nope, not having it.
So did Stuart hook you up?
He told me which one to go for. He had a quick look and he went, right, go to Richer Sounds, get this one. So I got a Denon. And it has 8 HDCP 2.2 ports. There's 7 at the back.
Wow, you will not be needing anything else again at this point.
Well, I guess the only other thing would be the PlayStation Neo. So that would take me up to 4 kind of 4K ports.
You're going to have to go some to pad out the rest then.
Yeah, you really are. I mean, it would be like something like Apple TV going 4K. That would be the 5th. Maybe Nintendo. I laugh as I say it. Nintendo
4K NX.
But it's really interesting. I mean, the lesson that I learned there, I guess, is it's really good for kind of our listeners. Is just make sure that before you jump into buying your AV amp, if this kind of whole 4K thing is grabbing you, make sure before you buy an amp, because it was really interesting. Because I was going to buy, I kind of liked badging everything together. So I've got a Sony TV, I had a Sony Blu-ray player, and I like Sony AV equipment. So I looked at their new receiver only to find that there was only 2 HDC 2.2 ports. What? So they had 7. They were banding it just like mine as a 4K HDR compatible, but only 2 of the ports were actually compatible. So make sure if anyone's in the market for a new receiver, to contact Just Add Popcorn. But if anyone's in the market for a new receiver at 7 o'clock in the morning, they reply. So if you're read the finer print, because I kind of read the glossies and thought, yep, that Sony one's lovely. I'm going to get that. Won't tell the wife that I'm getting a new one. I'll get that, and that'll be absolutely fine. Only to find that there was only 2. So the Denon amp that I've got is just absolutely superb, and it's just lovely. Sony, and it works really well, and it's actually performing a lot better than my old Sony, because one of the problems I had with Sony was the speech was good, but when there was loud noises, the loud noises were just terrible. It was just so you had this really loud noise, and so it would be mumbled speech, and then the gun would go off, and Nicola would be kind of trying to turn it down. But with this Denon, everything is just leveled out, and it's really lovely. So I'm very happy with that purchase and that recommendation.
Fantastic. I think Stuart's probably happy with the recommendation as well at this point. So.
Absolutely. So it's really funny because about 2 years ago, I bought 4K equipment, and since then I've now replaced all of that equipment because it's not compatible. So there is an early adopter story, if ever I heard one.
I have to say, I got my first HDR demo whilst I was away last week, and it's a weird one. I mean, it's not enough for me, because I bought a telly about 6 months ago when we moved house, and I will prefer OLED over HDR at this point in time. Mm-hmm. But someone was showing me like the side-by-side comparison. I'm like, right, look at this image of the sun going up, and okay, it just goes up. It's like this big ball of white in the sky, and then they say, okay, now you think that's what you see. Now have a look in HDR, and something as simple as like the sun coming over the horizon. In normal, like, SDR, I guess you call it, it was effectively, like, by comparison, it was just like this washed out blur. And in HDR, you could really see, like, the orb of the sun and the flares coming off it. And it's amazing how much your mind fills in, I think, at this point in time. So I'm really impressed with the tech of it. I'm not going to jump just yet, but blimey, I was sold as the tech principle over the last week or so.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's really nice that things have now started to come out. Like I say, we've got Sky Q. Sky Q is now doing the football and the footballs. They're doing all the footballs in UHD. They're multiple footballs. They're not doing HDR yet, but they're doing it in UHD, and they're also doing a whole bunch of movies. And we sat and watched The Martian with Matt Damon and his space potatoes, and we really enjoyed that. You know, and we just kept saying, like, Nicola and I, and it takes a lot for Nicola to be impressed with that kind of visual stuff, and she just kept saying, wow, that picture is just absolutely stunning. So I was like, yes, I've won. You know, when you get that kind of wife seal of approval or spouse seal of approval, it's lovely. It's lovely to get it.
I can remember times, right? So Ali's been able to see the difference completely, but I can remember watching one of the first FA Cup finals that were shown in HD, and we'd been around we were watching it around a friend's house, and their wife just couldn't see the difference. We were there watching it on BBC HD, BBHD, and she was just like, I'm just seeing a football. I can't look at the crowd. They're just people in the crowd. No, but you can see their face. No, nothing. So it gets lost on some people. But what I really like about this period now is where TV providers now try and sell you this new quality image on the other standard. Because I remember when Sky Sports start showing the footballs in HD, and I can remember this slow motion Wayne Rooney sliding across the screen with like raindrops coming down in slow motion, and this was advertised on standard def telly, but it looked amazing.
Yeah, and
we were all there going like, why would we buy HD when you could just show it in this quality? Just make it this quality every single time. So
just show it this slow.
So I want to see how they advertise 4K tellies on normal telly. I want to see what tricks they pull for that one.
I think it's kind of similar to kind of VR, where I think it's kind of a lot of kind of word of mouth and kind of come around and have a look at this. I mean, my brother-in-law popped around a couple of weekends ago, and I gave him a full kind of HDR 4K demo where we put on a couple of movies. We put Batman versus Superman, Mad Max. You know, I showed him Sky, and he was just like, I knew. You know, he left kind of with kind of eyes glowing, going, I need to get one of these now. You know, so and I think he's kind of ready to get one, but he just doesn't know kind of size or manufacturer, so I'm trying to help him with that. Cool. So it's very cool. So I can't wait for Forza, and I'll probably be telling everyone when we're going to get that. So it's already pre-ordered. I've got it pre-ordered, the digital version. I've already got it pre-ordered, ready to go. So I just can't wait to play that game, and let alone kind of with HDR goodness. So what else have you been playing?
I think one of the crossovers, because I'm guessing you've played at least something on your Xbox One S, but I think one of the crossovers, have we both played We Happy Few?
We have indeed, yeah. It looks like we've got a couple of crossovers this week. But yeah, We Happy Few. What did you think of it?
Yeah,
it's an interesting one, isn't it?
There's a couple of disappointments in my list this week, and I felt like we were sold something at E3 that we didn't get with We Happy Few, because I think that opening scene, that almost Bioshock entrance where you have that, it was a man at a desk. And it was all lots of tubes and pipes and things, and then a woman came in with a mask on and like waistcoats and stuff, and it seemed quite Clockwork Orangey, quite Bioshock. And this dystopian future where they're trying to edit the past, and like everyone has to be happy. Everyone has to be happy. So I thought this was a real exciting world to be part of, like another one. Like I was like exploring the Undercity worlds in Bioshock was superb. Just seeing like the contrast between what everyone thought was there and what everyone could be about. I thought this is going to happen again. But as soon as you get past what turns out to be the opening cutscene, which is what we saw at E3, it changes completely. It changes into a survival... Well, it's a survival game, like, I guess almost, not so much Rust, but Don't Starve, where you just have to constantly look around for water, for food, for medicine, everything to keep you going. And all the magic fell out of it for me at that point. I was just... I think partly I'd heard things, but I was quite stunned with how disparate it was from the original vision that we'd been pitched. But also, it just didn't seem to be that engrossing for me. Like, you were running out of health and water before you'd even got out the first room, and I think the humour seemed to be lost. The humour that seemed to be portrayed, like, the rat pinata in the demo, this wasn't visible. And yeah, I just came away going, I don't want to play it, because I don't like those survival games at the best of times. I'll play them for a couple of hours, but I really don't like the fact that you can get really far and then you have to start over from scratch. And I know some people really like that, but I fell off arc very quickly when I'd actually got some momentum up. I'd built like a base, I'd built weapons, I'd built clothes, I'd befriended a Triceratops, and then I died and I had to start over. I thought, well, sod this for a game of soldiers. I've seen all I wanted to, thank you very much, and off we go. So I think I lasted about... How long? Because it's a game preview, and I think you get to demo the game preview for 40 minutes.
I think it is. I think it's about 40 or 45 minutes,
and
isn't it?
That's all I needed. That honestly is all I needed, because I didn't want to play any more after that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really interesting because that was exactly the same with me. I got to the end of that. So I was really happy, because the great thing about this is that you can do that demo. So you can do that game preview demo, which allows you that 40 minutes to really kind of kick the tires and see what it's like. But I was exactly the same as you. When I got to the end, because I was like, I was really looking forward to this game. It really was one that popped up last year, and it was that styling. And as you say, the kind of Bioshock, the Clockwork Orange, it really grabbed me. And I was like, I want to play this game. And when I got to play it, I was just instantly just kind of disappointed by it. So I'm so glad that when it got to the end and it was like, do you want to buy this? I'm like, no, I really don't. But I will go back to it, because what you've got there is a very early beta, which hasn't even got any of the story. There's supposed to be 3 stories, and you haven't got that. So I'll be interested to see when that's in, which I think is early 2017. When that's in, I'll be really interested to see kind of how We Happy Few shapes up.
Yeah, then. I think I'm in the same boat. I think once they give you more direction and structured flavour, I think that's where I will go back, because I think the draw of seeing how did the world get like this, will this story give me that answer, I think that will be enough to pull me through. Because again, Don't Starve is like, yeah, it's fun as far as I'm concerned for a couple of hours, but then the lack of draw beyond how long can you go just loses me at that point in time.
Yes, absolutely. I think Don't Starve came out on the PlayStation 4 at the point where I think it was very early on in the PlayStation 4. There wasn't much else around, and I really got into it. But the other day I was looking at games to play on the Vita, and it was there, and I just was like, I don't think I could be bothered to kind of go back into the whole rigmarole, as you say, of kind of starting that day all over again. So yeah, they do kind of wear thin quite quickly, don't they?
Yes. So yes,
So I'm a bit worried about what could be your next disappointment in your list.
If anyone's been reading my tweets, they will know. Shall we get to it?
Yes.
So, Batman, a real disappointment. No. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky. And I think anyone who's listened to the pod for an extended period of time will realise quite how we were really looking forward to this.
Yes.
And I'm done already. I mean, I should say that I didn't play for the first 2 weeks because when it first came out, I had a long weekend away, then I had Gamescom, then I came back, and then I only started playing on Monday. And I played Monday afternoon, and then I played a bit Tuesday evening, Wednesday, and I played a bit earlier. And I have to say I'm done. I am eight hours in, and I don't think I have been so disappointed with a game since Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam.
Oh no, it can't be that bad.
It's because it's not even the expectations of what they sold us. So No Man's Sky, this universe with the quintillion planets in it, but no gameplay. I feel that I've got to the point where I will quite happily get what I need from this game by flicking through screenshots of other people's adventures. Because I honestly think it's a technical marvel what those guys have achieved, that small team to achieve, putting out this supremely polished. I mean, do not get me wrong, the quality within No Man's Sky is second to none. Like the fact they've got those planets generating to such a level, the fact that you can explore over them, the fact that you can travel between them in real time is incredible. I think the whole thing is absolutely incredible. But after Planet 3, when I'd stumbled upon the same building structure, because across the face of a planet, there's probably only about 8 different things that you can find there. So like a radio signal, a couple of bases, maybe a crashed ship or so. But I found the same structures time and time again, and the magic quickly wore off at that point, because I just had to question why I was moving along. And I think in the same way that we spoke about We Happy Few needing a narrative structure, there was nothing really drawing me forward, because that planet looks nice, but when I have to find the same plants, when I have to find the same equipment to move on, I just found my will to play sapping away. I mean, I take it from your silence, this is not your experience.
No, I mean, I can see where you're coming from, because I think it's tough to kind of fire it up again when there's so many other games that you could have much more fun with. But for me, I think I've made a game within No Man's Sky, which is kind of trying to go through all of the trophies that are on the PlayStation 4. So for me, my No Man's Sky experience is I'm working from home about 3 days a week. I always wake up about 5:30, so I'm waking up about 5:30 in the morning. I'm going down to the movie room, getting myself a cup of coffee, and then I'm playing No Man's Sky for an hour and a half before I have to kind of get up, get ready, and Nicola wakes up and I make lunch and stuff. So I'm playing it for just an hour and a half every morning, listening to a podcast, because I kind of stopped listening to the sound of the game, so I'm listening to a podcast, and I'm enjoying myself. But I can see where other people, I've been looking at all of the criticisms and what people have been saying about on the internet, which is not something I normally do, but I just kind of wanted to see what people were thinking about this game, and I can see where a lot of people are coming from, because you're right, there isn't any narrative. I still keep thinking that there was a decision that I made right at the start, which was, do I take this red orb or do I leave it, has stopped me, has stopped that narrative, but I don't think it has, because I decided not to take it because I wanted to do everything on my own rather than be guided. But I kept thinking, should I restart, because did that give me the story that I needed? But by the sounds of it, it doesn't.
So I mean, what trophies? What trophies are there that draw you through? Because I think if they'd been integrated more into the game itself, I agree that they would have given you I guess a proxy to a quest log at that point in time.
Yes,
because
absolutely, it's about discovering planets. So there's you level up, and it's like become the kind of ultimate discoverer. Meet aliens, decipher languages, and I found that really interesting. That I kind of on the first planet that I landed at, which is called Spark Prime, obviously. So and I got to name a planet, which I must admit the first couple of plays I had, I was like, this game is amazing. I haven't played a game. I mean, where Darren has played things like Elite, I haven't played that for ages. I haven't played that for years. So this was something new. And when I could land on a planet and I could name it, and then when I could start naming animals and things, I was just like, this is really exciting. And then when I went up to, I found an alien who was selling something. It was a vendor, and I went up, and it was just all alien. I didn't know what he was saying, and then I offered him some money, and he emitted a smell. So I was just like, oh no, I've disappointed him, And then I kind of found some monoliths. And I started to decode the language, and then I went back, and it was filling out some of the blanks. So it was just, and I found that really interesting.
So I would really definitely that is actually the part that I tried the most, because I tried to give myself a goal, and I actually upgraded my the mining tool. I can't think what it's called. So I upgraded that as much as I could to extend the ping as far as possible. And so the main thing that was keeping me amused was actually finding those language blocks to fill out. So I think I did reasonably well. Like every time I saw one of the I can learn a word there, I would run over the horizon to collect it all. But I guess that was the nearest I got to going, this is my direction, because it was really good fun, actually, when you do find an alien and you can pick out certain words in it and you go, actually, I can be quite smug because I know exactly what you're talking about. I haven't got all your sentence, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That is the nicest thing about it. But, yeah. It's funny you mention the naming things, though, because I think someone pointed out to me, I can't remember who it was, but I think the naming thing would have more weight if there was a chance of anyone ever seeing it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think one of the things that I am finding with the game is that it's very lonely.
Yes.
So which probably matches my 5:30 in the morning
Your
kind of play. No one else is up.
Just get on. Let's just tinker around, but. Yeah.
Yes, but there's just like, it's very. I mean, you see ships in the sky, but you can't interact with them. They are just. It is just a graphic that you just can't get to, or they're not other players. It would be fantastic if suddenly another player landed on Spark Prime, and you were notified by that someone else has come across your planet and things like that. So I think for me, I'm still going to keep playing it. I'll keep playing it until maybe I kind of got to the point where you are, where I'm like that. This. But I will keep an eye on what updates, because what I think we have here, as you say, it's an incredible achievement, but I also think it's a bit of a platform. I think it's a base that which they can grow on, and it's a base that which we can improve.
Yeah, I would be less aggrieved if I hadn't paid £50 for it as well. I think giving me what is an empty platform right now for £50, I am slightly miffed by. If this had been, £15, £20 on Steam or on, what was Xbox Arcade, I would not feel quite as diddled as I do. And I really want to stress, it's still polished, it's still lovely, it's still a fantastic achievement, but it's just empty. And so that is my biggest problem. Like, pounds to actual what's there. Yeah, and I know you shouldn't always equate it to it, and I think it's not saying that the money wasn't deserved into that thing, but it's just... I will come back in a year, and I hope when I come back in a year, that thing will be teeming with options, from base building to, actually, maybe you, my brother and Manny, could come down to my planet, and then we can all go and find that last creature that we're looking for. So, some sort of co-op joy at that point.
Yes.
It just needs some very simple things, because I've heard many comparisons with Minecraft as well. You just in Minecraft, you just go wandering around. Well, yes, but you can do so many things in Minecraft if you get bored of the one thing you're doing. Like, the biomes change so frequently in Minecraft. You can go mine, you can go build stuff, you can go fight stuff, you can create a survival game. And I hope they layer that on, because for Minecraft it took years. So let's see, maybe in 12 months, 24 months, however long my patience holds. I mean, the good thing is I bought it digitally, so I can't trade it in, so it'll always be there for me to go back to.
He'll always be there, just mocking you on your dashboard. I mean, I must admit, when I think this would have worked really well on the same platform that We Happy Few are on, which is that kind of the game preview program where you could have. I mean, imagine just jumping in for 40 minutes. You would have probably got a good idea of where you are, and you could have just said, "Oh, I'll take this at a cheaper price whilst you're in beta." Because you're right, looking at Minecraft, I think Minecraft took about 18 months, didn't it, to come out of beta?
It tickled along for a long time, didn't it? And then slowly added all the sort of like the manufacturing, not the manufacturing, like the crafting and the redstone blocks and everything. It wasn't there from the start. These were all layered on later.
Absolutely. I mean, I got to it. There's another game I'll talk about in a mo that I've had so much more fun and enjoyment with, and it's just a fraction of the price of No Man's Sky. So even though I'm enjoying it, I do agree totally with you, and it's quite interesting because when I was speaking to Darren, just kind of checking in on him on Monday, he was saying a similar thing. He hasn't played it, but what he's been seeing, because that was on all of our lists of most anticipated game this year. We've all been hornswoggled by Sony, and I think some of the time it could be that there was a lot of noise about this game, and I think we were saying a couple of weeks before it was released, temper your expectation, guys, because I don't think it's going to be that groundbreaking game that we all expect it to be, and unfortunately we seem to have been a bit right here.
Go on, let's move to happier things. What's
so happier things? Yeah, give us a happier game.
Ali and I have just started The Vanishing of Ethan Carter. So this has been out for a while. I think it's been out for ages on the Steam, and I think it came out start of the year or late last year on PS4. But it's
right.
It's one that Ali was seeking out. I think she saw it at Eurogamer or something, or maybe when we went to Gamescom the year before. And like, we need to play this. So we're only about an hour or two in, but it's very much more like a narrative game in the likes of Gone Home. And it's hard to say. We're still trying to piece it together, but you're some sort of private investigator, I think, trying to uncover the vanishing of Ethan Carter. So Ethan Carter's a boy, and it turns out this boy likes to write stories. And we're walking through the forest where we last saw him, and we're finding elements of his stories that are actually coming to life in the forest around us. So I won't say too much because we're starting to, the momentum's gathering in the storytelling. But it's It's really nice that it's very gentle puzzles. Like it says from the start, it will not hold your hand. So you wander around the forest. You can take a couple of the first puzzles, I think, in the wrong order, or the quote the wrong order. But yes. It's all right. You have to find them, and then you find enough of them, and they all piece together. And maybe you have to put together what happened from odds and sods that you find lying around. Like what happened, but in what order did it play out? And you see these visions and flashbacks, and then get to hear Ethan's stories that inspired them. So it's just again like a real nice experience to have with Ali. That's not like an action game or something. So yeah, we're really enjoying that at the moment.
Fantastic. So is it a bit like so like you say, it's a bit like kind of Gone Home, and also that fantastic one on PlayStation 4 that's name
Firewatch?
is escaping me at the moment, which was a bit like Firewatch, and also the other one that was a bit like Archers. It was a bit like a that one as well, which was
Rapture. Everyone's gone to
Rapture.
Which we still need to play,
Rapture.
Actually.
So is it? Oh wow! Is it similar to those then? Is it similar to Firewatch and similar to Gone Home? Because if it is, I need to buy this.
In these early stages, it's got that it's a bit more investigaty. It's probably so. It's not as pure laid out. Like it's not going to unfold as easily in front of you. So yeah, I think if you like those, then this is definitely worth a look. I know a few people at work really pushed me to like go on, you'll really like it. Yeah, so I'd say if you like those, definitely have a look at The Vanishing of Ethan Carter.
Oh, fantastic. And there's also another one, is it Edith Finch?
Oh, I haven't heard of that one.
I know is coming out very soon. Yeah, there's another one that's similar, kind of in the similar vein, and I think it's coming out very soon on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. So, Fantastic.
So what else have you got on your list that you've been playing?
Well, since while we've been away, the break, Batman, the Telltale series has come out. So I played the episode 1 of that. I kind of played through first night it came out. I kind of just did the whole episode in one go, which is always a good way to do with the Telltale series, rather than kind of leave them halfway. It was about, I guess, kind of 2.5 hours long. Episode 1. It was good fun. I'm really enjoying it. They do some very interesting things with the Batman mythos, and they mix it around just slightly, which is interesting. It's a very Telltale take on the Batman, so which I really like. I'm really enjoying it. A little bit disappointed that the engine is still a bit chuggy, because I really thought this was going to be the one where we get that brand new shiny engine. It looks better, it really does, but when you get to some of the big scenes, you're still getting that stuttering happening. So which I really thought we were going to be done with for Batman, but we're definitely still kind of getting that, and I was playing that on Xbox One.
Yeah, grand. So how does it compare to things like The Walking Dead? What is its hook? Is it when you actually are playing it? Is it just the conversation still, or do you get to do Batman-y things?
It's very much still conversation-y, but you still get to do Batman things. Now, the way that they do it, because obviously Batman's going to get into fights, there's going to be lots of fights, it's very much kind of very quick time events. Now, normally with a Telltale series, you get a little while to go left or right, but with Batman, when he is confronted by villains, it is very quick. You have to be very quick off the mark. So they suddenly surprise you with you got to start and your A, B, and swiping up. But there was one point, and I won't spoil the episode 1, but there was one point where Batman was outside a building, and you had to just kind of have a look at where all of the bad guys were. So you were just looking and just monitoring where they were, monitoring their patterns, and then you could go to each one and go, right, I'm going to take this guy down by doing this, and I'm going to take this guy, and you just basically plot your way through this room of bad guys, and then you say, right, execute, and then the whole thing just happens in front of you. We're still with a few quick time events, but it just worked really well. It was a really great piece. You really kind of felt it was like a bit like Arkham. The first time you took someone down, silent takedown with Arkham, it really felt like you were like, I'm Batman, and it was very cool. I really enjoyed it. So it was very cool. Nice. So I can't wait for the second series. I think they're starting I follow Telltale on Twitter, so there's some rumblings that the kind of second episode is on its way, because they reckon they're going to get all of the episodes out before the end of this year. So they haven't got that long. So the episode 2 is on its way, and I can't wait. They're doing really well, and it's a nice mix between Batman and also Bruce Wayne as well, and it's really good. And Troy Baker.
It was a coin flip, wasn't it?
You always get those two. yeah. Nolan North, a poor man's Troy Baker, but no, Troy Baker does a really good job as Bruce Wayne.
I really like the fact, actually, from afar that they're giving Bruce Wayne as much of an insight, as much of an outing as Batman itself, because this is the game. If any of them out there would do it, that will actually do that side justice. Because I can't imagine in Arkham Knight or anything it would be as interesting, popping the suit on and then just walking down the street. So it's nice they're actually using their strengths and pulling in the strengths of the franchise as well that will match it.
Absolutely, it's really good. It's really good to see, because there's been some really good graphic novels where you get Bruce Wayne as a character, where it's not just all about Batman. Back when they had Nightfall, which was when Batman got his back broken, there was a whole series where it was just Bruce Wayne, and I absolutely love that series. I've still got that in original comic book form, and it was just such a great series to read, and I just really enjoyed it. So that bit, I'm hoping they use that some more. They did overplay slightly that his parents were killed. If I heard that once, I heard that about 8 times. It's like you kind of walk into a room and like, oh, your parents were killed when you were really young, weren't they? And it's just like, if I was Bruce Wayne, I wish there was like just a face palm.
This is why he becomes the bat to take. He's like, stop talking about it.
Leave me alone. I'm going to go down to my cave. So it was very good. So I can't wait. Really impressed, even though it's chugging a little bit. It's still a very good story, and I can kind of see where it's going. So I can't wait for episode 2.
And I think one thing you've bought as well is something that I've got on my hard drive but yet to play. So have you been playing Overcooked?
Oh, I love Overcooked so much. Now, Overcooked, for those who don't know, it is a couch co-op, marriage-destroying cooking sim. It's absolutely fantastic. You could have 1 to 4 players. Obviously, if you're couch co-op, it's going to be more than that. So 1 to 4 players. I would say 2 is really good. I've spoken to people. My family have been playing it with 4 players, and they've all been screaming at themselves. But Nicola and I gave them some tips. But we've been playing it 2 players couch co-op, and it is absolutely fantastic. So what you have to do is you have an ever-changing kitchen where orders are coming in and you have to get the orders out in a certain time. So orders will be something like a tomato soup, and it's all done in a very gorgeous cartoony way. So a tomato soup, so what you've got to do is you've got to grab 3 tomatoes, you've got to chop the tomatoes, you then got to cook them. If you overcook them, your kitchen then goes on fire and you have to take it out with a fire extinguisher, and then you have to get that out. So you have to plate it up into a plate, get that plate onto the conveyor belt. If you do it in time, you get a bonus $6. If not, it's 4, and then if the order goes, you actually lose money. And then also, when those plates come back, you have to wash them up as well. And later on, this gets incredibly frantic. You'll like it, James, there's a pirate ship level, which has fantastic Rare-esque sounds and music being played. We cranked it up on those levels. There's an ice level, but this game has to come with a warning, because it really is. Nicola and I were normally quite a timid couple, screaming at each other. It is just fantastic. At the end, whenever we didn't, because the funny thing about my wife is that she is an incredible completionist. You know, she can't move on from a Lego game without getting 100% and 1,000 achievements. When we were playing Overcooked, we weren't allowed to move on until we got 3 stars. So each level, you get like 70 points is 1 star, 90 is 2, or 140 is 3. We weren't allowed to move on. The fun couldn't continue.
There will be no fun. There will be no fun here until we have completed it.
Until we got those 3 stars, and then we could then move on to the next one. So we spent nights on just like one level, and then the funniest thing was as soon as we finished playing, and if we didn't get the 3 stars, Nicola would give me in a very lovely way, would give me an instant critique of what I did wrong on that level. She turned it to Gordon Ramsay. I tell you, she would make Gordon Ramsay quiver and cry. It's an absolutely fantastic game, and I just absolutely love it. Now, the interesting thing, and one of the things I have to mention on this pod, because I've just actually got an iMessage from Nicola to say that she's done it. But when you're playing in couch co-op, only the person whose story it is, so the first person who's logged in, gets all of the achievements. So the last 2 achievements, which is 3 stars on every level, and to beat the final boss, only the first person who signed in is the only person to get those achievements. Now, Nicola has enjoyed Overcooked so much that she's grabbed my login and she's gone through it every single level on her own. And I don't know how she did it. And like I say, I've just got a message to say that I've got all of the achievements, she's now. So she's done it the first time. We were logged in as her, because we always log in as her, because when we've played Destiny or Halo or Gears and I get an achievement and she doesn't, she has rages. So we always play as Nicola as the primary account. So she got all of the achievements, got 1,000 achievements. And then when we look back at mine, I didn't get those. So I got everything else, but I didn't get the last. So she has gone through all of them, and I think there's about 8 levels. Each level has 4 stages. So she's gone through all of those and got 3 stars.
Now that is love. That is.
That is just like, and it is when you start playing and you realise, especially the last couple of levels, I'm
a bit worried about this now, because I think we're going to wait until after we finished Ethan Carter before we start this. But did you ever play Lovers in a Dangerous Space Time?
No, but I'm thinking about that one next.
Marriage tester. co-op space station joy. But that was really good fun. Yeah, I wasn't allowed to drive half the time. I had to shoot.
That sounds like me when we were playing Borderlands. I'm a terrible driver in Borderlands, and Nicola was always like, when she let me drive, but she just knew that we would crash all the time. And then when we got it was Halo. I can't drive in Halo, and she was saying that I had to always be on the gun just so she could drive. So, but Overcooked. The great thing about Overcooked is it starts very easy. So you know your first one, I think you are making soups, and then it goes up to hamburgers. Some pizzas are thrown in there as well, and it starts off all very lovely. And we're like, this is just so lovely. Look at us, we've smashed it. We've got 3 stars, and then the first time you get a 1 star, Nicola was like, okay, what did you do wrong there? There was just like, I think there was screams like, just give me a tomato. I mean, our neighbours must have heard, just give me a tomato, you know, and it's just like, it was so funny. Plate this up. We had a thing when we first started playing where Nicola was doing the cooking. She was doing the pizzas, and she just kept shouting, order up. And that was my job, to go over with a plate, take the order, and then take it out, and then wash that plate up. And then she just kept shouting, order up. And it was just like, so much fun. It was really good. I love Overcooked, and I highly recommend it. It was absolutely superb. So it was really interesting going from Overcooked to No Man's Sky.
I can see why you enjoyed the peace and tranquility a little more in No Man's Sky. It's like, there is no spouse shouting at me. This is amazing.
It really was. There were some points where I'm like, okay, when we get 3 stars on this level, I'm done for tonight, because there's only so much abuse one man can take. So it was great fun, and you really should try it out. But yeah, no, I'd get Ethan Carter out of the way, and then just kind of spend the weekend shouting at each other. And then the last game, which was this weekend, I played this last weekend, which was the Titanfall technical test. So I jumped into this technical. I like this technical test. It was very cool. So I jumped into Titanfall 2 technical test. Really enjoyed it, actually. It was really good fun. I enjoyed the original Titanfall for maybe a weekend or a couple of weekends, but I really enjoyed it. It was good fun. It looks fantastic. They had 3 game modes in, which was Bounty Hunt, Pilot versus Pilot, which seemed a bit kind of, I don't know why you would want that, because in Titanfall you want a mech. You want that mech to jump out of the sky, and you want to jump in there as soon as possible. So to have a Pilot versus Pilot mode, I wasn't quite sure about that. And then they also had Amped Hardpoint, where you have 3 capture points that you have to kind of capture, and that was great fun as well. But Bounty Hunt was my favourite, because while you're playing the round, you're amassing money. So when you're taking people out, taking over a point, you are just picking up cash, and then what you have to do is, at the end of the level, you have to go over to the bank, you have to find the bank, and then you just deposit it in the bank, and it's the one who has the highest money, the highest amount, and when the time runs out, that team wins. But while you have it, you can just hold it for bonuses for the other round. You'll get bonuses, but if you get killed, it will take half. That person who kills you will actually take half of your current stash. So there is that real kind of risk and reward to whether you bank or whether you take it to the next round. So it was really good. So they had 3 maps. They were rotating 3 maps. They had 2 mechs, and it was really good. It was really good. We've got another one of those this weekend. So there's going to be another Titanfall 2 technical test on both Xbox and PlayStation 4 this weekend. This is the second one, and they've already put out EA have already put out kind of a list of things that they're already changing and already
I really like
that.
Like, I saw the news earlier this week that there seems to be a lot of people saying how their feel had changed from Titanfall 1. So the fact they're actually willing to address this in a proper way. I mean, I think this is what early tests should be. The fact they called it a technical test, not a beta, I think is brilliant, because we're breaking away from that. But the fact they're also going, okay, the fans have spoken, let's go back to the drawing board and see how this goes with how does it feel compared to the original. So I think it's a lot of respect for them coming out very quickly to say that they're going to try and look at that.
Yes, absolutely. There must have been a lot of late nights in between these couple of technical tests, because I'm quite surprised that they are just 2 weekends, quite like next to each other, rather than having it a kind of few weeks apart. But yeah, no, it'd be interesting. I've still got it downloaded, so I take it's probably still the same download. It may get a bit of an update, but I'm going to give it a try. I did try it on both Xbox and PlayStation 4, but I couldn't really see the difference. So I was happy to. It just looks very nice. It looks like a nicer version of Titanfall. So, but it's good for the PlayStation guys, because anyone who is PlayStation only, they haven't got a chance to play this before because it was Xbox One exclusive. So that was really good. So shall we start the news section? And in this week's news section, we have lots of PlayStation news, lots happening in the PlayStation world. We also have those free games for September on Xbox One, and also a PlayStation exclusive is making its way to Xbox One. James, the first piece of news is with you.
Yes, a bit of a public service announcement, because the price of PlayStation Plus is going up, or at least it is in America and Canada. I think before people get outraged at, it's going up, I found it interesting to say that the price of PlayStation Plus hasn't actually gone up since it launched, I think in about 2010. I think that was the first time it came out. So the fact they've held on for this long without upping the price, I think should be, doff the cap to them. But yes, the price is going up by $10 for an annual subscription in the US and $20 in Canada. So I think that's $60 in America for the year, and then $70 if you're in Canada. But I still have to say, I think it's really good value, because I can't think what it is over here. I should have probably Amazon Googled this before we came on. But I'd be still happy to pay for a bit more every year, considering what they're giving us now. I mean, when they first started, they can't have thought that they would have had the success they've had with, especially like the free games that they're giving out, and that must be costing them so much in terms of just time and investment to source and put out there. And I still think the PlayStation Plus subscription is worth every penny, because there's so many times that I don't know what to get. And so when they give you a little smorgasbord of tiny indie games, it's nice to explore new things. I do like the fact that PlayStation Plus have gone for a lot of the indie games over the years, with things like Rogue Legacy and Rocket League. They've been two of my favourite games in the last 3 or 4 years. So yeah, I think even if it goes up over here, I think it's still good value.
Absolutely. I mean, I think here it's £40, isn't it? I think it's £40 a year is the annual subscription for PlayStation Plus. But no, I agree, and especially if you own a Vita as well, or even if you have the kind of a PlayStation 3, you're still getting games for those.
Yeah.
And even though a lot of people have been saying that maybe the PlayStation Plus has been kind of losing that free game war to Xbox on the recent months, it's still free games. You're still getting free games, and as you say, I've had things like Broforce that have just been absolutely fantastic. I mean, really good games that I could just jump into that I probably wouldn't have touched before.
Yeah, I think it gives a lot of small games exposure and allows them to actually change their funding mechanism. I think a lot of the way that allows them to take a few more risks because they know they've got the backing. So I think if anything, it's been good to give smaller developers exposure to that point too.
Indeed. I mean, we have some other news items for Sony, as I was alluding to right at the start. So we have. So do you think that maybe this price rise is they're trying to get the bad stuff out of the way? Because on the 7th of September, they've got their PlayStation meeting in New York. So do you think maybe they're just trying to get that negative, what could draw negative press, trying to get that out of the way for the time being, and then so they're ready to showcase whatever they're going to showcase on the 7th of September?
I think this is the kind of thing that would have gone out in a press release any time, I think.
Right.
I honestly don't think they'd have made a song and dance about this one way or another. It just happens to be in the lead up to Christmas. I mean, and again, it is just for the North American gamers at this point in time. But they also announced today that you can do 2-factor authentication on your PlayStation account as well. So it seems like we've got a dump of features and a dump of stuff that we need to announce, and we've got no real place to do it, so let's just put it out and get it out of the way.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the other features that they've announced this week as well is that PlayStation Now is now out on PC.
Oh, yes.
So PlayStation Now is that service that allows you to play kind of, I guess, what they bought Gaikai for. But it's that service that allows you to play PlayStation 3 games, just downloading online subscription. So it's almost like a Netflix for the PlayStation back catalogue. So this is now available for PC, which is really good. I mean, the PlayStation app, the Remote Play app, is available for both Mac and PC. So I'm hoping, being a Mac user, being selfish here, but I'm hoping that PlayStation Now maybe comes out on Mac as well, because it'd be quite interesting. And also, along with this PlayStation Now announcement, they also brought out a dongle dongle that you can stick into your PC or your laptop, and you can play wirelessly with your DualShock controller.
Oh, that's cool. Because I know you can plug in the USB, can't you? It just detects it.
Yes.
Yeah. Ah, nice.
So yeah, no, I've played that quite a few times. Where it was quite funny. I was looking at my diary the other day. Maybe I shouldn't say this because I have a couple of people from work that listen to this pod. But I was at a meeting that was lasting a good couple of hours. I was thinking, I could do some mining in No Man's Sky. But instead, I watched your live stream on Twitch. So,
I'm glad I distracted you in different ways. So yes.
Yeah, so it was just like, that's really interesting. You have these kind of games on the PlayStation 4 that you could easily, because it works really well. It works really well on the. I've got like an iMac in front of me while I'm working, and it just works really well on there. Like I say, it's plugged in, but I'm right next to it anyway, so it doesn't matter for me. But the streaming, which same as it does on the Vita as well, but it just works really well when you're away from your PlayStation.
That's superb. Yeah, I will have to give that a try because I've tried the Xbox streaming app, and I think I was playing Forza with it when it first came out as just a trial, and the fact that I could actually get round a track, the response time was good, and I still hit as many corners as I would normally, but it was the fact that it was actually happening, and I haven't had too much chance to actually use it since, so I'll be interested to see if I can get the PlayStation working one as well. I'm now wondering if I could play them both at the same time.
Wow. That would just be some multiplayer. I mean, I think probably something like Rocket League, it'd probably be a bit too slow, wouldn't it, with the lag?
It depends, because when my Steam Link, on the few occasions that seems to have worked, I actually managed to play Rocket League over it. Like, if the ping was low enough that actually the problem was always connecting to the servers rather than connecting to my own PC. So I guess if you've got a wired network within your own house, then there's a good chance that it'll be fine. But it's just nice that this seems to be a new standard, because the PlayStation Vita, I thought, brought to a fantastic new way of playing. The amount of PlayStation 4 games I tried to play remotely just because I could. Earlier, I think Resogun was a great success for me in that. So yeah, I should try and play more. Maybe I should get further on Uncharted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you haven't, like I say, I've said before, I'm a little bit spoiled because we have a room where I can go and play. But if you have one TV and your PlayStation's under there, then this is a fantastic solution that you could then just use it. I know one of the guys I work with, Kenny, he uses the Mac Remote Play. When his wife or his two daughters have commandeered the TV, he can go off into his office and he can just continue playing the Xbox that way. So it works really well. And I just think, depending on your setup, these little added values are really good.
Yeah.
I mean, back to the PlayStation Plus price rise, do you think that because we're not far now from PlayStation VR is coming out in October, which I'm sure we're going to hear about in the September event, but do you think that maybe they'll start adding PlayStation experiences in the PlayStation Plus, or do you think maybe they'll try and coin as much as they can out of those for the time being?
I think you've got to look at it like when they first launched the Vita, because they still haven't put like the big Vita games on there, like Uncharted, Golden Abyss. They still haven't put that, or things like Gravity Rush on there. So I think to begin with, they will try and make sure that you give them as much coin as possible, because at the end of the day, they are a company that's trying to make money. So I think it wouldn't make sense to necessarily give stuff away. I think the demos are going to be the things that sell it, because you will already have spent so much money on a headset in the first couple of weeks that I can't see the PlayStation Plus thing making too much sense initially. I think down the line, yes, I think it will just fall into the line like the way you've got a PS3, a PS4, a Vita, then maybe add a PSVR experience on top of it. And it's like, yeah, this PS Plus is then for everyone. But I think early on, the amount of time and energy have been put in, I don't know if the uptake will offset it.
Yes, because I think with PlayStation VR, if you haven't pre-ordered now, you're probably not going to get it. Maybe this side of Christmas. I think you're definitely not going to get it at launch unless you can find a little store that's got somewhere, or you're going to play those inflated prices on eBay. But you're right. I think if PlayStation VR really does start to take up, then maybe they will start adding those little extras.
Are they interesting? I did get a text from a certain Welshman earlier saying that he didn't know whether he was going to commit to his PSVR pre-order or not.
Oh,
and I think, because I haven't got it pre-ordered, I think I'm going to turn it down because I really want to see it in the flesh. Like, I think with No Man's Sky hanging very heavy on my shoulders at the moment, I don't want to commit to another purchase without trying.
See, for me, with Batman Arkham VR being a launch title, and also 100-foot Robot Golf.
Yeah.
Both of those are VR, and they are the launch titles. They're coming out on October 13th. That's me sold. That is the game that I can show people when they come around, and it's the game that I'm just going to just don that VR headset, and I'm just going to have so much fun.
Yeah.
But it's quite interesting because I haven't gone up to Brighton yet to play with Darren's HTC Vive, which I'm really want to. But kind of part of me is like, I'm so close to PlayStation VR now that maybe I will wait. I mean, saying that, EGX is not even a month away now, and both myself and also my nephew Will, who's coming with me, we've both got PlayStation VR slots.
Cool.
So on the Friday, so I'm going to have a bit of a play there, but I'm still kind of maybe I should give it to Manny and then say look, this will convince you, because I'm really excited about it. And it's really interesting because with Overcooked and also with things like that amazing game that you guys always talk about, which is keep talking and no one explodes or dies. I can never get that right. Those kind of games I really want to take into work, and I've never done this before, but I really think there'd be really good team building games. I think if you can get a kitchen going really well with 4 people playing Overcooked, you've got a really good team there. If they start strangling yourself, then maybe you should just get HR involved. But I think, it's just really interesting. I think those things I'm kind of seeing more than just in my movie room. I'm seeing kind of more than that, and I can't wait to play those. So yeah, that's really interesting that he's waning slightly on the PlayStation VR.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure someone will take it off his hands, but yeah.
Yes, indeed. You could probably sell that on eBay, couldn't you? Like a pre-order, pre-order queue or something. So, I mean, the next thing, the last thing about kind of PlayStation that has leaked this week, which is a really interesting thing, is that PlayStation 4 Slim seems to be leaking onto the internet. So we've had articles from both Kotaku and also, more interestingly, Eurogamer that have leaked about the PlayStation 4 Slim. So over the weekend, started getting pictures of this slim-looking, cut-down version of the PlayStation 4. Now, obviously, people straight away were saying this is fake, it's not real, but there was boxes, they were showing boxes. They also appeared on eBay and also on Gumtree. And I think there was about 3 or 4 of them that were kind of doing the rounds. But Eurogamer kind of jumped onto the article, and they also said they sent Richard Ledbetter, who is part of Digital Foundry, they actually sent him to the guy's house who was putting it on Twitter to say that he had one. It was very local to where they were. So he went to the house to have a look at this PlayStation 4 Slim. They booted it up. I think they even put a video on the Eurogamer's website, which has now been taken down, of the PlayStation 4 Slim, and they also had it like kind of on top of the PlayStation 4. So it's really interesting that we're so close again to this like PlayStation experience, and we're starting to get these leaks. I mean, similar to the PlayStation 3 Slim that leaked before, but I think that was from a kind of a Chinese warehouse where they were building them. But what this tells me is that maybe they're starting to go out to stores, which is why that these have appeared. The owner of this PlayStation 4 Sim said it was given or was sold it in a factory somewhere in the UK.
What I find interesting about this as well is how PlayStation have just been quite quiet about it all as well. They're sort of like pretending it's not happening. There seems a certain amount, like, because it is out there. Like, you saw Eurogamer had it. You said that the video was taken down. There's an acknowledgement it's there by the fact they asked the video to be taken down, but they're still trying to hold on till, what is it, the 7th of September, was it?
It is indeed,
so they've still got another 2 weeks, effectively, to hold out by trying to say nothing on it all. It's almost, I think they must obviously be feeling, someone's leaked it.
Again.
Yeah.
Again.
But it's so obvious as well that this thing in September the 7th is not going to be about the PlayStation Slim. So it's almost like, fine, please don't make a big thing of this about on September the 7th, because we know it's out there now. Maybe acknowledge it now. Maybe just like give it a nod and give it a wink and go, oh, you scamps, you found out. Because if they make a big thing about it come September the 7th, I think it's going to be even more anticlimactic.
Yes, absolutely. I think if they could laugh at themselves, and they are kind of where they are in the console war, if you want to call it, they could laugh at themselves if they say we're now going to show you our new, our next console. If they showed these images from Gumtree or from eBay, I think I would be in stitches.
Yeah.
And, hats off to them, because I think that would be a real kind of tongue in cheek. It's very interesting. It does change my mind as to what that event's going to be, because I was quietly hopeful that maybe we would see PlayStation Neo this year, but I don't think we will see. It's definitely not going to come out as soon as this, where this is probably going to be maybe an Apple moment where they say in stores now, and then next day it's going to be in stores for the PlayStation Slim. I don't think the same is going to be for the Neo. I'm kind of not holding out any hopes now for really kind of the November time either, because otherwise we will probably be seeing something very similar. And there's been when I first saw this image, I did think it was the Neo, but then when it's so small, you know that the Neo is going to be a little bit chunkier than that.
Yes, yeah, and I do wonder whether, I guess this is going to be like the Xbox One S. I guess this is just going to replace the base PlayStation 4. This is just the new model, the new version of it.
Absolutely. This would just be your PlayStation 4. This will be your default SKU. The only difference that's been reported so far is that there's no audio input for the audio lead, and that's upset a few people because of headsets, Astros, and things like that.
What on the controller?
No, on the back of the PlayStation. So your digital optical audio port.
Yeah.
Maybe, your optical port, that's not on the PlayStation 4 Slim.
So they're going to need some sort of HDMI splitter.
Maybe, yes. So this looks like it could be that kind of cheaper version. They'll drop the price slightly. Here's your PlayStation Slim if you want one right now, and then Neo's coming out next year, maybe.
Yeah, I guess it is speculation still, but I can't see Neo coming out anytime soon. It just seems like, I just wonder whether the change in the marketplace with Scorpio being announced, does that send them back to the drawing board to tweak things? Because it seemed a bit of a big ask, even rumoured that they'd get a new Uber SKU out by this Christmas. Especially as I don't think there are that many. I could be completely wrong, but off the top of my head, I can't think of many first-party Sony games coming out this Christmas that would have been used to trumpet it.
No, absolutely. I mean, for me, it would make sense that you bring out Neo. I mean, obviously, you have PlayStation VR, so it could be, if you want your PlayStation VR to run better, here's Neo, bundled together. Here's your new Uber pack. But for me, I think the PlayStation Neo with better graphics, running HDR, 4K, whatever it's going to do, would benefit coming out alongside Horizon. Yep. Because Horizon looks stunning. It looks stunning right now. Yes. So you imagine what it would look like on something that's like a PlayStation. But it's funny you say the kind of Xbox One S, because I'm surprised that this one doesn't follow suit. And maybe kind of Sony are kicking themselves, going, why didn't we think of that? Why didn't we put in HDR in this one, and then kind of have people doing 4K HDR when Neo comes out? But I think maybe Microsoft have been kind of a little bit more on the money, especially in my little world. Having a HDR console now and then a 4K one in 18 months time or whenever it's coming out, that's just what I want. Where it'd be interesting to see what we're going to get from the 7th. Well, I'm definitely going to stay up and watch it. I think that's a must. I'll work from home the next day so I can be sleeping. So we've got there's just lots. I mean, I'm sure between those 2 weeks, Sony will be holding its breath because there's still a lot of time for leaks, which is great for us because we can report on it. But I'm sure they're trying to really kind of plug up all of those holes. Kind of a bit similar to Sea of Thieves. They're kind of down there. Whatever. Is it RT that you have to hit? That's it. Although if there's any experience, as long as someone's trying to fix it, I'll be happy. The amount of crews that just left it. Can you hear that water down there? No. Glug, glug, glug. Do you see our ship going to the side? So superb. So, James, the next piece of news, sir, is with you. So we saw Inside go to PlayStation this month, and next month we've got almost like the reverse journey. We've got a nice little indie darling going over the other way. So The Witness is coming to Xbox One next month. So it should be... Well, you played The Witness earlier this year as well, didn't you? I did indeed. Yes,
I've never used as much graph paper in my life. I think trying to get through all that. But yes, Jonathan Blow has pretty much confirmed it's coming to Xbox and then iOS as well. So I can imagine the iOS version being slightly more cut down, but the vivid colours and I think just the way that you move through the world will work with touchscreen superbly. And even the puzzles are very simple and stick driven itself. But yeah, I'm not quite in the mood to go back to it to try and get more achievements out of it. But I think it's the first 95% of that game is some of the best experiences I've had. It left me sour at the end, but I would still recommend people play it. So if you haven't got a PlayStation 4 and had missed out on The Witness, make sure you get it when it comes to Xbox One next month.
Absolutely. Nicola's quite excited about this, and I said, well, we've got it on the PlayStation 4. She was like, yeah, but I want to play it on my account on the Xbox. so she's quite excited about this. And I must say, I do think, I remember probably the first night that I fired up The Witness, I did think this would work really well on iOS, and I just would love to see, my train coming home from London, just a whole load of people looking quizzically at their iPads, with a little notepad next to them, trying to scribble, work out puzzles. I think this, if and when it does come to iOS, I think it will be a ginormous hit, because it's exactly what iOS games are about, that kind of quick fix puzzle, do one puzzle, do a couple of puzzles, and I just think this will work really well. But it's so good that this is coming to Xbox One. Yeah,
because I hadn't even realised it was going to be multi-platform in the end. I think I just assumed that it was tied up with Sony. So yeah, it's obviously the more people play games, the better. So it's nice to see Inside going the other way and then Witness coming this way.
Absolutely, it's fantastic. Yeah, no, because Witness is out. It came out yesterday, didn't it? As we were recording, 25th of August, it came out yesterday on PlayStation 4. So if you haven't played that and you're PlayStation 4 only, jump on it right now, because it's an awesome game, awesomely mind-boggling game. So yes. So speaking of Xbox One, we have the Games for Gold for September. So the Games for Gold, they're quite early this month, but we have the Games for Gold. Major Nelson dropped the list just this week. So the first game that we have is a brand new game called Earthlock. I had a quick look at the trailer. Just to kind of see what it was. It's a turn-based RPG, very stylized turn-based RPG from a Norwegian company called Snowcastle. So it looks really interesting. It looks like it's a great game. It's available from the 1st to the 30th of September. It's free, so it's worthwhile just kind of jumping in and seeing what you think. But it looks like it starts off quite simple, but then really does kind of start getting a little bit more complex, especially from the stuff that I've been reading. So that's Earthlock, and that's available for the 1st to the 30th on Xbox One. We also have Assassin's Creed Chronicles, or China, which was the first of, I think there's been 3 Chronicle games, but this is the first one. So this is the side-scrolling, isn't it?
That's it, yeah. I think I've only played a little of them, but it was interesting to see them take the franchise into that different realm. It's nice to see, because I remember trying to play a phone game of it, and the platforming never really worked out. So it's good to see they've actually tried to create a different strand where they can actually form some of their own ideas with it.
Fantastic. So this is available from the 16th of September to the 15th of October. And then over on Xbox 360, which is also playable on Xbox One with backwards compatibility, we have the fantastic Forza Horizon. So the first in the series. Fantastic game, a must play. That's just so great. It's just it was such a refreshing change for Forza to kind of come in with this whole kind of festival vibe to the racing. It was just great fun. So Forza Horizon, that's coming from the 1st to the 15th on Xbox 360, but with backwards compatible. And then we also have from the 16th to the 30th, we have Mirror's Edge. So Mirror's Edge is coming to Xbox 360, again Xbox One as well. So the 16th to the 30th. So I think it's a really good lineup this month.
Yeah, I think they've done incredibly well. I think the Forza one's a nice one as well, because it whets your appetite for Forza Horizon 3. So like, if you like this, imagine how pretty it looks on the next generation.
Yes.
And then Mirror's Edge, yes, I think it's still one of my favourite games of the last generation. I didn't really give this one, and I need to go back and play Catalyst a bit more, but the first one was superb. I think it was unique of its time. So yeah, it would be nice to go back and experience that again.
Oh, that's fantastic. I never played Mirror's Edge. I played the demo. So I might jump into this and see and give the story a go and see if I can get through it.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to find out how it actually holds up, because in my mind, I don't think I played it for a good few years. So in my mind, it's still I'm not saying perfect, but still this awesome adventure that was, great controls, fluidity, and I wonder if I'll actually be able to do that going back now.
And it looks stunning, didn't it, on the Xbox 360? It was just because of the minimalistic style that it's got, that kind of white and the reds and the orange. Yeah. So I wonder how, I was really impressed, actually. I fired up Beyond Good and Evil HD. I fired that up over the weekend to just kind of have a bit of a play on it, and I was really enjoying it. And it was really good to see kind of how that had tarted up for the HD and looked good for the on the Xbox One as well.
Grand. Again, they were all quite stylized, weren't they? With Mirror's Edge being, as you say, quite stark and quite bold colours. And I can remember, I think I played it on the GameCube, Beyond Good and Evil. But I can still just like those cartoon shadings, I think help make something last a bit longer than if you go for photorealism.
It really did. It really reminded me of a like an N64 game. It really kind of it was that kind of feel to it. But it was really good. I might continue playing. I finished it when it first came out on the original Xbox.
Yep.
But it was just nice just to play it again. I quite liked it. So yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah,
that was really cool. So James, next piece of news is with you.
Yes. So back at the start of the year, I think when we all put down our most anticipated games list, one that I had on mind was Below from Cappy Games. Is it Capybara or just Cappy? Cappy Games. I can remember Phil Spencer wearing a shirt of them on E3 once. But yeah, Below has now been indefinitely delayed. So what I think is really nice is they haven't tried to just say we're going to push it back a few weeks. They've been quite honest with the community. So Below is, I'm still not 100% sure, but it's a very stylized, what looks top-down adventure game in this quite beautiful world. But it you have this very tiny character walking across, like it looks like a big island, and then you go down into a big cave system with lots of geometric shapes. But it just seems to have this awe about it that I really like the look of, and it really captured me ever since I saw it at E3 all this time ago. And it looks quite magical and very, very impactful with its graphics. But yeah, it's been indefinitely delayed, and so I can only assume they just are not happy with how things are going, and they just want to take some time out to make sure everything is as it should be, rather than trying to rush it and maybe get it out before things are ready to go. I think, as we've seen with several games in recent times, it's like you only get one chance to release, and the impact of that first day out weighs so heavy on all the other coverage that will come after it. So I think it's very brave, and probably they obviously know their game better, but a very brave and very positive decision to try and make it as good as it can be.
Absolutely. I mean, like I say, this has kind of appeared on a couple of montages, hasn't it?
Yeah.
With an indie montage or ID at Xbox montage, and it's always been one of those ones that have really stood out. And it's the two games that have been that kind of when are they coming out is Below, and also Cuphead as well.
Yeah.
I did notice actually there was another montage for Gamescom, and I saw that Cuphead had some side-scrolling platforming sections to it now as well.
Yeah, I actually did manage to play that for about 5 minutes, and I found that as well. And yeah, it seems strange. I don't know whether it didn't review well with punters, if it was just a series of boss battles. But yeah, it still had this lovely, like 1950s Mickey Mouse style animation to it. But yeah, it was a bit of a shock when I jumped into one of those levels.
Yeah, it really was. When I saw it, I was like, ooh. And then, because I know Phil Spencer has gone on record to say that it's kind of not the game, it gets similar to Below, where it's not the game that people are expecting or up to their standards, so they're still working on it. And maybe that's it, where people have, it's been at these conferences, and people said, yeah, that's great, these boss levels are great, but what's the actual game like? And then like, that is the game, and then, so they've gone back and they've added these extra bits. So I'll be really interested to see when that comes out, but I'm really it's such a shame about Below. But you're totally right. I think, as Darren says quite a few times, there's an old adage where a good game is only good once, or a delayed game. Darren says it a lot better than I do, but it is a case of you have that one shot to get that game out.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, that is such a shame, because you're right. It just looks amazing. It looks a fantastic game.
Yeah, I think I'm still going to get it no matter what at this point in time. I never pre-order stuff, but it'll be there. It'll be there in my just in the edge of my vision, just waiting for it to come back around.
It's just like sitting there, waiting. Just wait. It's really funny. Or like with No Man's Sky, I had No Man's Sky on pre-order, and so you actually watch a clock when it was getting near to unlocking. So PlayStation have this thing where when it's going to be unlocked at midnight, they start counting down. I think probably about 12 hours to go.
Yeah.
So whenever you highlight it, it just has this countdown clock, and that's quite exciting to kind of watch that. I've been kind of sitting there waiting for midnight to roll around on quite a few games with the whole kind of digital pre-order. I think like Rare Replay was one, Halo 5 was another. It was just really nice just to kind of get it that moment and be very much kind of part of what's happening on Twitter as well. So it's just really nice. But yeah, you imagine that with Below, you kind of had a couple of days and it just went back to 99999. You're like, damn it! But no, I hope they don't. I hope they don't just kind of decide that it's never coming out. I hope they do what they need to do in order to kind of get this game out.
Cool. Yes. And the next up, hopefully happier news, because I see that something new has come to Star Wars Battlefront.
It has indeed. Now, I know I probably should have saved this for when Darren's back on the pod.
Someone who can appreciate the finer arts.
Star Wars. I'll be very quick. But Star Wars, we've got there's DLC that's happening for those people who have bought the season pass. We've got new news on the penultimate DLC package. This one is incredibly exciting for me because we are going to go to the Death Star. So the new one that's coming out in September, it takes us to the Death Star. So we're going to have those battles that we want. So it's basically got some new modes as well as new maps, as well as Chewbacca as a playable character. We're going to have some new modes. Now, the new mode that comes out with this DLC pack in September, it basically puts you into a match which has 3 parts. So if you think of it as like a mini campaign, so you start off as a space battle. So you're trying to get through the defenses of the Return of the Jedi Death Star. You're trying to get through the defenses, because it looks like it's half built, so it must be Return of the Jedi. So you're trying to get through the defenses, and then the next stage is team combat, and you're on the Death Star. And then it switches to the third stage, which is space combat, where you're Luke, Vader, etc. And then as the Rebels, you're then there as Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing, and you're there to just try and take down the Death Star and do that trench run, explode the Death Star, and then get the hell out of there. So this is really good that they've added this. It kind of makes me really excited. And as yet, I haven't purchased the DLC, the season pass. But when this comes out in September, this will push me over the edge.
This will see you crumble.
This will see me crumble, because there is not only is there this, so they teased this, they showed what that new mode is, which sounds like it could be absolutely fantastic. I'm terrible at flying in this game, but the second I'll be good at the second part. So maybe I'll get better like more I try, because what I do at the moment is, because I know I'm really bad, whenever I jump into an X-Wing, a Y-Wing, a TIE fighter, whatever I jump into, I end up just crashing it into people. So I always try and take a couple out with me, but I just like half of me is like, I'm in an X-Wing, and then it's exploded. But not only with this, they also teased the last piece of DLC. The last piece of DLC, which is coming out in December, is going to be Rogue One themed. So as well as this, we also get, I think the last time we podded, we were talking about the VR experience that's coming to Star Wars Battlefront. So we get a bit of VR in there, but we're also getting a Rogue One level. So it's the level that you've seen in the trailers. If you've seen the trailers, I'll stick it in the show notes if you haven't, because it's the latest one is mind-blowing. So it's that desert land where you have the AT-ATs in the kind of desert, as palm trees, and you're all those rebels. So that's going to be coming out. And then the new hero that we get is going to be the main protagonist of Rogue One. So I am super excited about both of those. And with both of those, Bespin almost had me. So Lando's Planet almost had me.
I'm glad. Thank you for explaining that part.
You're welcome. I just imagine you Googling, like on Wikipedia, go Bespin.
Bespin?
Bespin. How do you spell that? So that kind of, that almost got me. But this one definitely pushes me over the edge. And my nephew who lives in Canada, he's just bought himself a PlayStation 4 and bought Star Wars. So I might get the DLC over on the PlayStation 4 so we can play together.
Cool. What I really like about that the first one you described, that multi-stage battle, was it Halo 4, Halo Reach? I can't remember which one that did the Halo, the multi-stage. Right, you've got to take this barrier, then you've got to push the Covenant back, then you've got to take over the base and push that back as well. I think it was it Reach? I think it might have been Reach.
I think it was Reach.
Yeah,
no, I think it was Reach.
That was one of my favourite battle modes in any online game because it meant that it was multifaceted. Because so often it's like capture the flag. Yeah, it's great. But after a while, it gets a bit samey. And again, with deathmatch, so the fact that you have these different aspects, and the fact it's space combat and then ground combat, I think that sounds superb. So hopefully this seems like something they will push forward into later games. I mean, is this something technically they just didn't do before? Like, technically they couldn't have had this level that did everything?
Yeah, I would like to think that, because I think you've been able to, when you've been playing the games, you've been able to get a credit that enables you to jump into a Y-Wing, X-Wing, but then you've been very much above the battleground, and there's been a few where this one, in that round 2, you are completely in space. Yep. And this is something that Darren has been wanting for Star Wars Battlefront, I think, ever since it came out. The ability to be able to have that space battle, that dogfight, and the fact that they've used such an iconic level as well. It's just going to be so good. It's going to be fantastic.
Superb.
So I am quite happy about that. So like I say, the next one is like the December one after that, which is Rogue One, which is look fantastic. Have you seen the trailer, James? Have you seen the Rogue One trailer?
I operate on the principle of I try and watch the first trailer and then I try and ignore all the other ones. Because as much as, I like Star Wars, I'm not crazy about it, so I will probably go and see it. But I saw that first trailer and it whet my appetite enough that I will just leave it until it comes out.
Absolutely. Do you know what? I think that's quite a smart thing to do, and it is something that I'm thinking about doing from now on, because I went to see Suicide Squad a couple of weeks ago, and the third trailer or the second trailer really was a beat by beat of the movie. And you just found yourself, for the very first time, I found myself going, okay, that hasn't happened yet, so we're going to get that bit now. And then and a lot of the really kind of good stuff that if I'd seen it the first time while I was watching that movie, I would have chuckled or it would have been good. That they kind of gave that away in the trailer. Yeah. So I think I'm very much with you now. I think. I know the movies I want to go and see anyway. They're all superhero movies, but I know the movies I want to go and see anyway. So it must be. I think I just want that first one to make sure that everything looks okay, and then I think I'm same with you. I think I might just start going dark after that. Yeah.
Because it just seems to be more and more that it's either edited in a way that changes the context of the movie, or all the best bits are in there. I know the principle is they're supposed to get you into the cinema to see it in the first place, but yeah. Yeah, it's just always disappointing when you realise you've watched the whole movie in 90 seconds and could have saved yourself like 20 quid.
Yeah, absolutely. I came out of Suicide Squad, enjoying it. Thought it was a good movie, but I did say, I could hear you squirming there. I did say to Nicola, like when we was having our Five Guys afterwards, I did say, that I need to stay away from trailers now, which is hard for me because I go to the movies a lot, and that trailer was played a lot. Yeah. So whether that I watched that trailer just too much, and I did enjoy that trailer. I loved that trailer. I loved the Bohemian Rhapsody part of it, and I loved the way that it was cut. But you're right, that wasn't made for me. That was made to get other people into the cinema. So I just need to go, right, yep, you've got that. It looks good. I like that. I'm now going dark on that movie.
Yeah, I think a Five Guys would have infinitely improved that movie. But I remember going to see Jurassic World again. I like Jurassic Park, so the dinosaurs won me over on that. But I was really annoyed that actually in the lead up to Jurassic Park, there was a trailer for Lego Jurassic Park. And so after watching barely anything on the lead up to Jurassic World, the Lego trailer for Jurassic World spoiled a few things in the movie for me. It's like, oh, I got so far, and then this advert for a toy has just spoiled stuff. It's like,
oh no!
I didn't know there were ankylosaurs in it until that point. I was So I try and get in like as late as possible, but before the trailers, and yeah.
Yes. I think there's something great about going in and watching a movie unfold. You know, I do too, in a very anal way with Star Wars, with Batman versus Superman. I went off the internet. You know, I came off because I didn't want people spoiling. I didn't want people showing that. Oh, here's this picture. Here's that scene. I want to see that for the first time myself, and also other people's opinions of the movie as well. Because I went into Suicide Squad knowing that a lot of people had panned it. And for a little while, I was just like, "Oh, this is really bad." And I was like, "Actually, no, I'm enjoying parts of this." And there is a good movie in there somewhere. It just needs to be edited out. But and it has its ups, it has its downs. But there's something nice about going in and seeing this fresh. Yeah. You know, for me, one of the movies that I didn't really care about, not really cared about, but it just wasn't on my radar, was The Jungle Book, the new Jon Favreau version of The Jungle Book. Sat down on Sunday, and Nicola and I said, should we watch a movie? And we just kind of stuck Apple TV on, and we just rented Jungle Book from Apple. And we sat there, and I knew what was going to happen. I've seen the animated movie a million times, but I just sat there, and I just really enjoyed it. You know, it was really nice just to have this fresh movie, just kind of wash over and not have it spoiled by little bits of it being put all over the internet, or the kind of the main plot points being kind of all spoiled. So it's something really nice about doing that. But obviously with the environment that we live in, it gets harder and harder to do that. But there definitely is something like Rogue One for me. I am now, the Empire magazine comes out this month. There's 3 covers, all look very cool. But I'm staying away. I'm staying away. I now want that movie to just kind of. That's my kind of. I just can't wait for December.
I will be interested to see if your willpower resists through the entire run of that magazine.
I'm just not going to get it. I'm not going to get it. But if I say there's a cover that I want to buy because it's absolutely
so you can send Nicola in, like, take this, hide it somewhere. I don't want to know where.
Yeah. Take that. And, I mean, what I have done previously with Empire is I've got the magazine, and when it got to the preview part about that movie, I'm like, nope, not looking, and then read the rest, and then kind of stick it in my cupboard until I've watched the movie, and then sit and read it spoiler free.
It's a weird one because I don't go to the cinema as often as I used to. I used to with a friend from work every Orange Wednesday.
Right,
we'd go along. Well, like, you know, most Orange Wednesdays would go along, and half the time we wouldn't know what we wanted to see. And it was a real superb time because we'd get to have a whole range of movies. Like, I can remember going to see Munich, like the film based around the Olympics that were bombed, or the captive taking.
Yes,
and we just went off the blue, you know, just out of the blue on that one, and it was superb. It was so nice just having these surprises that come out of nowhere. And so, like, when Ghostbusters came out the other week, I was so happy to get in ahead of like all the podcasts and the reviews at that point in time. Like, I will have my own opinion on this and not be flavoured by everyone around there. But I half the time nowadays, I just tend to listen to so many podcasts. I almost seem to get that now informs which ones I want to go and see. So there's certain ones, like you say, like superhero movies, that I go out day one. And I guess like games, I will get games day one no matter what the reviews will say, because I know I want to try this at the very least. And then it's almost like I find the review programs are there to try and feed my opinion of the outliers, like just like the small independent films or games, to try and seed me into just like actually going to sit down there. So like down on our Amazon watch list, we've got a load of stuff that we didn't catch at the cinema because it might have been small and indie, but now it's on streaming. It's like, yes, we want to go and watch that. I think like we've got Carol queued up that I know Mark Kermode was really recommending at the start of the year. So yeah, it's weird what you go for, but I find trailers less so, but reviews definitely drag me more towards things.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm the same with you. You know, my Netflix and Amazon, they're the ones I can pick off all the indies that I can't. I would love to go to the movies almost every day, but I can't drag Nicola every day, you know, to go to the movies. And so a lot of the indie stuff like Lobster, like Indie Game, the next Indie Game, and things like that, and all of those movies, I just tend to pick up either on streaming or on Netflix or Amazon.
Yep.
So, and it's absolutely fantastic. I love being able to kind of have both of those experiences. I'm not sure if I would day and date have a big blockbuster at home, even though I've got that room for it. I still like going to the cinema. You know, I still like going for a Five Guys afterwards. I still like that whole thing. But yeah, no, definitely for those smaller movies, I'm happy to be at home with those all. But it's quite funny because I am now on. I think I'm on 37 movies of my 52 movies in 2016 challenge. So I'm doing quite well.
Like you're ahead of the curve, I think.
I think I might be. I just recently I watched, as I said, Jungle Book. I've also watched Indie Game Life After, which takes it on from Indie Game the movie. So I've watched that. That was an interesting documentary. I also watched Ratchet and Clank the other day as well. The Ratchet and Clank movie, which is really interesting. They've almost got cutscenes from the latest game in there. So yeah, they were the kind of the last three. But yeah, no, I think I've still got a lot more movies that I want to catch up on. So yeah, there's lots more to see. So I think I will smash the 52 before Christmas.
Superb.
So yeah, we won't have a VR news desk. We'll keep those smoking jackets in the cupboard. It doesn't seem right without Darren.
It's just a bit more respectful to wait for him, doesn't it? It's like trying on his clothes without him being here.
Indeed, it's like playing with these HTC Vive without him here. So we'll just kind of zip up those plastic, gorgeous, you know, kind of keeping them nice, and we'll wait for Darren to get back and get better. But there has been a couple of interesting VR news items. Now, one of them is very quick from me, but it's just the fact that Oculus Rift is going to be available in stores, and it's going to be available this September. So next month, you'll be able to pick up Oculus Rift. I think it's the 20th of September. You'll be able to pick up Oculus Rift from John Lewis, Curry's, PC World, Game, and Harrods. You'll be able to pick up Oculus Rift for £549. Now, originally Oculus launched at $499 in the UK, but there was quite a large shipping cost as well, so which I think took it over this $549. So Oculus Rift is going to be available. So they're now going to be, you'll be able to walk into Game or John Lewis and you'll be able to pick up a headset. So this is really it's really interesting. Obviously the Oculus Rift comes with Lucky's Tale, which is that game, the platform game that comes with every so it is the full version of Oculus Rift. You'll be able to just walk into Curry's, PC World, they might be the same thing now, but you'll be able to walk into those stores and pick up an Oculus Rift if you kind of just feel like a splurge.
So is this coming in time to have the handsets, or is this pre-handset?
It's pre-handset because the handsets come out in October.
Okay, so it's just a little too early, which I find quite curious then in that sense. If there's another add-on to try and make this the full experience, I can see why you'd want to get stock in the shops, but then if there's a new, nicer version, or I guess they could try and upsell them afterwards. But yeah, it's almost like you're getting still half the experience at this point.
Yes. I mean, you've got Minecraft is launching, or it has launched already on Oculus Rift. So that's kind of coming out, and I think they were showing that at Gamescom as well. So they were showing that kind of, I think around probably where you were. I think around the kind of Microsoft area, they were showing Minecraft and Oculus Rift. So that's kind of, so there's definitely those big titles that are coming out on it. But you're right, you know, it would have been nice if they'd had those touch controllers and all of that ready just in front of PlayStation VR.
Yeah.
It would have been really nice just to kind of get there, just in front of it, and kind of get out there. But obviously, you need a beefy PC. But this will be available, so this will be interesting to start seeing VR on shelves.
Yeah, and I hope that means there's going to be more demo pods in the general public area as well, because you can imagine if you go into. Did you say Harrods was in the list?
Indeed, it's John Lewis, Curry's PC World, because I think they are the same thing now, Game, and Harrods. Now, Harrods already have a HTC Vive demo.
Yeah, I think this is what's going to say. You need, I think as we said earlier with the PlayStation VR, you need the demos to shift these things. So hopefully the larger stores will just set out this lovely, splendid area that you can then just immerse yourself in, even if it's for like just 5-10 minutes, to see if it's, well, for one thing, if it makes you sick. Because I'm sure there's not going to be too many people who like putting on £500-600 worth of equipment, then finding out your own body rejects it.
Yeah, so you just fall over. I mean, yeah, and it is quite interesting because once you do get it, once you do play with it, as Darren has reported kind of time and time again, once you kind of play this, you really get it. You get what VR. Like I say, if you're not instantly sick, you really get kind of VR from playing with it. So you're right. I mean, the article that I was reading, which was off of Eurogamer, they did say that demo pods will be rolled out across the UK to help people get an idea of how the tech works. These demo pods include the Climb, Henry, Farland, and Oculus Dream Deck.
I would have to Google half of those to find out what they are, but yes.
Yes, but it all sounds good. I know what the Climb is. I thought the Climb was with their little kind of touch controllers, but interesting. But yeah, but there you go. So that's coming September 20th for 549, who'll be able to make that kind of splurge purchase. So, James, the last piece of news is with you.
So this is almost just dredging up the past, because I honestly thought this whole story had been sorted, but no, it surfaces yet again. So ZeniMax, the parent company of Bethesda, and also the parent company then of ID Software, basically have been suing John Carmack and Oculus for what seems like forever. I think it was actually since May 2014, so this has been going on for well over 2 years. And they have always said that John Carmack effectively was working on Oculus Rift before he left ID Software, and they've got a bee in their bonnet about it, and they're trying to sue them for millions, probably billions, given it's in the American court system. But yeah, it just keeps going on, and I think it's only this week they have amended their suit to basically allege that Carmack secretly and illegally copied thousands of documents containing ZeniMax intellectual property from his computer at ZeniMax to USB storage device, which he wrongfully took with him to Oculus. I don't know if that means I don't know if that meant that ZeniMax were actually doing anything to do with Oculus, or whether they were a bit annoyed that he must have been typing something in the office and then taking it away elsewhere. Because we were discussing before the podcast actually started, I know a lot of companies have certain moonlighting laws where you cannot work on something else, or if you do work on something else, it is the intellectual property of the company you're employed by. So I can only assume that this is an exaggerated case of that. This is the, hey, John, we were paying you to do one job and you were doing another? Dude. Except with seveul more millions of dollars involved in it all.
Well, that's probably how they spoke as well. Dude,
what?
John. Whoa. Keanu Reeves is their lawyer.
But I like it. They pretty much allege that Lucky Palmer is... Oh, that was it, yeah. ZeniMax claim, so this is a claim and not us, they claim that Palmer Luckey is a fraud, and was basically... has been powered by John Carmack all along. They basically said that Lucky almost had the idea and had this like soldered like phone and glasses taped together, and it was all Carmack working at ID Software to do it. So the mind just boggles, the fact that they think Palmer Luckey hadn't got anything up and running, but also the fact this is now 2 years on, and it keeps on going.
Wow, because I remember listening to an interview with Cliffy B, and he was saying that he was at an E3, kind of behind the scenes, and John Carmack had... It was something taped to a telephone that was showing everyone what VR was like, and he really was and he had this prototype, and at that point he was looking for people to buy in. But I think at that point he'd already left ZeniMax, I think. So yeah, I mean, that's really interesting. It could just be that maybe not ZeniMax were looking at this technology, but he's just working. It's their time. What was? Does the article say what John Carmack's role was while he was at ZeniMax?
I think it was more ID. It's just that ID was owned by Bethesda, which is owned by ZeniMax. And I think, if I remember right, he was like technical lead director of software. He was something very fancy that did very low-level hardcore stuff, I think is probably the best way to surmise. But I can't see in the article what his actual title was. But he was despite being in the industry for years and years, he is still ridiculously down with the nitty gritty. So he'd have been an influential member in the engine team, probably.
That's probably just after he'd made Rage. He just finished making Rage, and then he was just bored. Because it seems like John Carmack seems like one of those people. I've seen a talk with him, but he seems like one of those people that just need constant stimulation.
Yeah.
In
What's
his
next?
brain.
What's next?
So he would. So he could be working on this. So it might be that he was just scribbling away. He was just working on something. But the fact that he's done it whilst he was within the confines, the domain of ZeniMax, and that's what they're getting him on. So does it say what's happening next?
No, it just rumbles on. It just rumbles on. I think basically you find that Oculus basically say, in the same parlance as they said, it's like, dude, nothing happened. But it doesn't have a date in court yet by the looks of things. So yeah, it just rumbles on.
But if my time with the good wife tells me anything, it's got to get to court at some point, or they'll be bought out behind scenes and it will just go away.
This sounds like is this how you two met? Were you an out of court settlement?
No, not the good wife.
Oh,
not
the
my
good
wife.
wife.
Who's just got me, not my good wife who's got me kind of hundreds of achievements. The good wife.
I honestly didn't hear the capitalisation. Sorry.
The good wife. Juliette Margulies, who is not my wife. But yeah, no, this will be really, especially if it does go to court. I think I said when we kind of talked about this before, but if it does go to court, that'll be really interesting because there'll be a lot of documents that will then be kind of public domain. Yes. Exactly, and then they'll make a movie out of it, and it'll be really interesting. And Daniel Craig will play John Carmack, right?
Suddenly the programme has got a lot more sexy at that point. So yeah.
Yes, indeed. And on that sexy note, that's about it for this episode. Huge thank you, James, for joining us.
It's been a pleasure. And Darren, I wish you were here. We've missed you.
We've missed him. We're only 2 hours. That extra hour is Darren, isn't it? And a big thank you for listening. Apologies again for being away for a couple of weeks. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Darren can join us. If not, James, you can. Are you ready to jump in again?
As long as we can wear the smoking jackets next week. That's the only thing I ask.
Yeah. We'll put the VR news there. So I've got to edit this, so I'm worried to add an extra song an extra soundbite in the middle.
For you, I'll just wear the jacket. We don't have to go to the desk. It's fine. So.
I was thinking about maybe singing it. I'm like, VR news. But anyway, don't forget, you can keep up with us at gamersoflostspark.com. You can also find us on Facebook, on Twitter. We're at Lost Spark Pod. You can find us on YouTube. You can also find us on the Gamers of Lost Spark PS4 community. James, where can people catch up with you online?
Yeah, I am Big Sheep, or one word, on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation and Nintendo.
Fantastic. For me, I am Chessman on Xbox Live. I'm PS-Chessman on the PlayStation Network and Chessman UK on Twitter. Don't forget, if you have any feedback, please send it to our email address. That's feedback@gamersoflostspark.com. Also, if you're feeling generous, please leave us a review on iTunes. So that's about it. Thanks very much, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.